My name is Alex De Leon, and what I'd like to talk to you guys about today is this idea of on being proudly Filipino. And so just a bit about my background. I was born in the States, and I moved to the Philippines when I was young. So in case you're wondering, marunong ko mag-Tagalog. I practiced that in the back. I'm not actually very good, though. I lie that I speak Tagalog all the time. But I studied here. I lived here for a really long time, and then I went to Boston College. I graduated there in 2010, and then I worked in consulting for a year. And for me, one of my biggest dreams of all time was to work at Google. And in fact, before I actually joined Google, one of the things that I was telling one of my friends was that I want to work there so bad that I would even be a janitor at Google. And so I sort of got my wish almost, because when I joined Google, I was really at the most bottom of the corporate ladder. What I was doing with my first job, I was on the Gmail team. I was actually doing technical support to some extent, and so I was answering tickets and just doing this very, very laborious type stuff. So I worked at Google on the Gmail team for about a year, and then I moved to YouTube. And YouTube was an awesome experience. What I was doing there was partnering with the largest content providers in the States, largest media partners, and I was helping them figure out their digital strategy, helping them figure out how to be successful on YouTube. And everything you've heard about Google, that it's a really fun place to work, all of that stuff is really true. So this is a picture that I took of the slide that we have that goes from the second floor to the first floor. It's really steep, actually. It's also kind of blurry because sometimes I'm feeling like kind of artsy, so I put my Instagram photos a little bit blurry. But I don't know what filter I used, but not a good one, apparently. All the things that you've heard about Google, a lot of them are actually true. It's so fun to work, in fact, that they even filmed this movie called The Internship. Has anyone seen this movie, The Internship? It was decently good, not really that good. But the fun fact about The Internship is that it was filmed on Google campus, and I was actually an extra in that movie. So if you go to IMDb, I am the 4th most popular Alex De Leon on IMDb, just the 4th. So Google, it's really a terrific place to work. Again, all the things that a lot of you guys have heard are true. We have free food, there's 26 restaurants on campus, free laundry, I think I had like dog insurance, which is better than some health insurance that people have here. Everything was fantastic, and I really couldn't have asked for more. And in fact, I had a super cozy life. I had a great apartment in San Francisco, a job that I loved, everything was cozy. I think I would come into the office around like 10:30 on my free shuttle from the city to Mountain View. I'd leave, I think I'd go to like a yoga class or a Pilates class on campus immediately afterwards. So really, really easy life. But I had this sort of restlessness in my heart. And this restlessness was in part due to the fact that I was so proud of the work that we were doing as a company. And every single time we released new technology, I kept thinking to myself, this is something that could be so impactful here in the Philippines. Right? In the States, we have streets mapped out so well that we get up-to-the-minute live traffic updates. Imagine if you could have up-to-the-minute live traffic updates. I guess it's always traffic here, so it doesn't matter, right? But that's the type of stuff that we had in the States. And I was always thinking to myself, my God, like, I had this almost this feeling that I really need to come back. That maybe I can make a difference in some small way, right? So I was here on vacation, and I met with there were 2 or 3 other folks, and I met with and when I heard about what they were trying to do here, they had a creed that was driving the mission, driving the work that they were doing. And that creed was, para sa bayan. And so we had these 3 pinoys that were here starting up the office, and for me it was a no-brainer. I packed up my bags, I was on vacation, packed up my bags, went back to YouTube, and I said, you know what, it's been a great ride, but I'm coming back to the Philippines. And the office that we have here is, or at least at the time, it was so different, right? I went from being in global headquarters with 10,000 people, this artsy slide that I showed you earlier, and the office that we had here was the complete opposite. It was a small, tiny little box of an office. There were no windows. I said, "Oh, where's the canteen?" Because we have these canteens normally, right? And they started laughing at me. I said, "Oh, where's the micro kitchen that has all the free snacks?" And they point to a corner, and there's a Tupperware that has like piatos and chippy, right? So, oh, okay, great. So I've been back for about a year now, and the things that we've done here are so exciting. So about a week after I first landed here in the Philippines, Yolanda hit. Right? This is last November, and the country was in a state of complete disarray. Everyone was paralyzed. No one really knew what to do. But one of the things that we started doing right away was rolling out this tool called Google Person Finder. It's a really simple platform, and what it does is it allows victims and those looking for their loved ones to be able to reconnect. And after the storm passed, we had more than 100,000 entries into Person Finder. We also partnered with all the local media companies and the NGOs to get really thorough databases on missing person updates. Right? So at some point or another, we were one of the best sources for real-time information on where people were. And we made connections. We made real connections. And so here's an example of one of the my favorite ones. It's a little bit more humorous. But a guy posted this on Twitter. His name is Nichols, sorry. And he was looking for his brother. And when he was looking for his brother, his family posted a message on Google Person Finder saying, "Please let me know if you're okay." And someone, just a complete random stranger, added information to that post saying, "Yeah, actually, he's fine. I've seen him. He's just fine." Someone else confirmed it immediately after. And this is all happening remotely, right? His family they don't live here. They lost connection with their brother who was here. And then even the brother himself kind of put a little bit of a joke, but he wrote, "I floated to Vietnam and I'm safe," right? So this is how the technology was working. It was making a real impact. Another thing that we did, because when you look at the Philippines, right, the next typhoon is not a question of if, but it's when. And so we were always in the stage where we were caught up being reactive to typhoons. So Person Finder, I think, was a really good first step. But the question is, what happens for the next typhoon, and the next one, and the next one? And so just several weeks ago, we rolled out a tool called Google Public Alerts. We partnered with Pagasa, and now any Pinoy with a smartphone will receive a proactive notice of an imminent typhoon, as well as where the closest evacuation centers are. This, for me, is a game changer. Another thing that we're doing now is, has anyone heard of Street View, Google Street View? So we have these really cool cars, and actually backpacks as well, and they have 360-degree cameras on them. And what we're doing right now is we're mapping the entire Philippines. And when we do that, we're going to be able to get real-time sort of live, not necessarily live images, but very thorough images of what the world looks like around us. Right? And so we're doing it right now we did it for Tubataha Reef. So if you go to Google Street View and type Tubataha Reef, you can actually see all the corals. We did the complete mapping of the whole reef. We did it for Intramuros as well. And so now you can actually, these people were kind of taking a selfie with the guard. So I thought it was a funny picture to take. So now we have all of Intramuros as well. And we're doing this for the entire country. Another thing that we did recently was we worked with local college students. I think we partnered with AIM. And we were teaching the students all about digital marketing. And so this is actually me teaching a class here. I made up this imaginary course number because I thought it'd be fun. And I told the kids to call me Professor X. I don't know why, I just thought it'd be fun. But we ran this course teaching all these kids about digital marketing. And a bunch of them got jobs afterwards with ad agencies here in the Philippines. So this is really what's driving our work here. We're trying to bring more Filipinos online, and we're trying to use our technology to make an impact. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was not necessarily just about the work that we're doing here, but two of the things that I've learned since being back. And so the day that I arrived, I was fresh off not the boat, but the plane, I guess, and I was having lunch with my mom, and we bumped into one of her friends. And she introduced me to her friend, and she says, this is my son. And I said, hey, yeah, I just got back. I moved back to the Philippines yesterday, actually. And then he says, oh, where are you working? And what are you going to be doing? I said, oh, I work at Google. And then he says, oh, just Google Philippines? And so I said, what do you mean just Google Philippines? But I didn't want to be sensitive about it, right? I didn't want to say, oh, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was, maybe I'm just being, I was looking too much into it. So I let it go. But the thing is, over time, I kept hearing this idea of being just Google Philippines again and again and again. Every single time I would talk to someone, tell them that I worked at Google, suddenly it was Google Philippines, right? And I was starting getting this weird idea in my head. I was like, what is everyone trying to say? Because the tone was so subtle. And I kept thinking, what is everyone trying to say about Google Philippines? Why do they keep asking why it's just Google Philippines? And I finally got the answer 3 weeks after I moved. I was so happy. And because the mystery was solved. So I went to a cocktail party, and I'm talking to a couple. And they're telling me that the boyfriend was actually going to be moving abroad. I think he was going to be going to Japan. And so me, I'm medyo awkward ako. So sabi ko, oh, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to follow him to Japan, or are you going to do long distance, or what are you going to do? And then she says, oh, no, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to follow him there. And then she says to me, what about you? If your girlfriend got a great job at a great company, what would you do? Would you pack up your bags? Would you follow her? Would you kind of stay here? And I said, well, I think it kind of depends on the circumstances. Depends on kind of what I'm doing at the time and kind of what types of projects I have. And she says, really, you wouldn't go, even for this company? And then I said, well, no. I mean, I'm at Google, so it's kind of hard to leave. And she goes, but it's only Google Philippines. And I said, yes, I'm so happy, right? I was so happy because the mystery was solved. I finally figured it out. And someone finally said what so many people were hinting and insinuating. It's this idea of only Google Philippines. And what's funny about that is that I just couldn't understand for the life of me why somehow, if you have Google and you attach Philippines to it, somehow this was a subpar version. Somehow this was not the same as the regular Google. And this, for me, was crazy. But the most surprising thing about it was that every single time I talked to foreigners, they never had any sort of distinction between being a Google or Google Philippines. This was a Pinoy mentality. This was a Pinoy creation. This was always Pinoys that were telling me, oh, but it's just Google. It's just Google Philippines. And for me, because I've had the chance to actually work in headquarters, I was there for 3 years, I can tell you that the team that I'm on now with Google Philippines is just as good as any team that I've ever been on. Everyone that is in this Google Philippines office went through the exact same hiring standards that I did when I joined in Mountain View. So my first question to you guys is, why can't we start the conversation where adding Philippines to something means this is the best version of it? Second thing I want to talk about is the idea of celebrating those who go abroad. We give them, this is the OFW line, it's empty. Everywhere else is completely full, right, when you land in the airport. But we celebrate the idea of going abroad, but we never treat people the same way when they decide that they want to come back. And I don't know if any of you all have experienced this as well, but in my case, even now, I still get questions all the time about why I chose to come home. People always ask me, why would you come home? You had a great career in headquarters, you're living in the States. I was living the dream, I guess, that some Pinoys have. And why would I ever want to leave that and come back here, right? But for me, the way that I see it is that if I didn't come back, who else would, right? If the people that are able to make it abroad and we're able to gain these skills don't come back, then what impact are we really having? And for me, when I look back at the year that we've had in the country, we rolled out public alerts, we rolled out Street View, we rolled out Google Person Finder, we're helping bring more Filipinos online. That for me is a game changer, and this is exactly why I decided to come back. Right. And so when I look at you guys, I see a lot of young folks, a lot of future leaders, and you're going to have a lot of choices that come before you. So for some of you, you may want to go abroad, spend time abroad. And I definitely encourage that, because that's what I did. I think it helps shape your perspective. You learn new things, you gain new skills, and it's great, right? But at the same time, we should also equally celebrate the people that stay here, people that choose to really make an impact here in the country, as well as the people that are abroad that want to come home. We should encourage people to come home, because if we want to see a better country, if we want to realize a better Philippines, then it has to happen from within. It can't happen from abroad. We can't be looking in all the time and just hoping for a better country, right? The change has to happen right here. So what I want to end with a cute tarsier, because that's always a great way to finish. This is one of my favorite ads. It was from the DOT, and they had this huge campaign about why it's always more fun in the Philippines. But I want to change this a little bit. I want to say coming home or staying here and making an impact, it's not just more fun in the Philippines, but it's essential for the Philippines. Thank you.